Hello, my amazings, wonderfuls, and lovelies, and beautifuls. Yep, that's you. You know your name, and you know you matter. I am Maggie, and thank you for joining me on my channel. So what we have been up to is a slow crawl through this book, The Magic of Everyday Life with Maria Zepes. And we are currently in our slow crawl of grabbing what we can in chapter 22, which is Positi've and Negati've people. It's interesting because she has it spelled a certain way. I don't know if you can see that. Positive with a apostrophe and negative. And so when you do get a chance, I appreciate it if you'd hit like and subscribe and leave your positive comments. I so look forward to hearing from you, and I appreciate your support. So we're going to get back to this. This is Positive and Negative People, chapter 22. Recognition, without a doubt, obligates us to serve. And the foundation of cosmic morality is solidarity, so oneness. Every moral illness diverts us from this basic, and every healing takes us closer. Every moral illness diverts us from this basis, and every healing takes us closer to it. Any method that by virtue is inharmonious proximity produces an explosion or causes moral decadence is therefore wrong. So any method that by virtue of inharmonious proximity produces an explosion or causes moral decadence is therefore wrong. So she's saying anything, we are part of the common sense show here. We do know that higher order values. Innately, you do know what not to harm others, and not to, kill things, and not to, say words that don't ever stop speaking. So if we're going to speak, we want to speak life. But in general, we are moving towards harmonious types of healing. So nor does service balk at contagium, for judiciously protects against it, lest in the midst of ministrations, the physicians become a leper as well. Negative, depressing, limited, malevolent people emit psychotic contagion. And I think all of us can testify to that. When you are around negative, depressing, limited, or malevolent people, you can feel the vibration go down. And you can also feel like a lot of times it's almost harder to get the signal of positivity, love, peace, whatever through. Our task here, when they enter our sphere, is to offer medication by word, example, thought, or emotional emanation. So we're going to use our wisdom depending on what tool we use, and we may use all four. So, and a lot of us have way more tools than that, but this is a good place to start. Our task here, when they enter the sphere, is to offer medication by word, example, thought, or emotional emanation. If they accept it, they start to heal. If they do not, only time and separation can help them. So we have to be at peace at that sometimes. Sometimes that's really hard, especially for those who are really always wanting to fix things and help things and heal things. It's hard to really trust that separation will help them. But sometimes, guys, we can't do the work for each other. We have to do the work for ourselves. And as our cup fills, it pours over into others' lives. But you can only lead the horse to the water. You can't make it drink. And sometimes people just have to learn the hard way. But we also do the very best we can to upgrade people in the best sense without the hardest lessons, but sometimes it's not possible. But under no circumstance does it change their condition if, because of proximity, we also become saturated with their infection. So she's saying, if you're around negative people, depressing people, what good is it if you basically, instead of you being the higher vibrating glass and bringing them up to the positives or the higher value orders, they bring you down. So you have to really, again, protect your field, protect yourself, do your work, fill your cup up. If another negative baron noose loops tightly around us, we must unravel from it without force. She has that in italics, without force. Because guys, a lot of times in energy when we fight, if we're fighting against, like fighting for rights or fighting for things, it actually creates this excess potential that comes back and creates equal or greater force back. So this is difficult to learn. I mean, I'm not perfect or anything, because it's kind of part of us to want to like fight and, you know, advocate. But as you start to learn, there's other ways to not force and still get there. Martin Luther King, I love him. I feel like he was a wonderful example of that. To the extent that our recognition and intention is correct, the relationship will cease to exist, seemingly of itself. It detaches from us, like a dry scab from a healed wound. In this case, the method is comprised of letting go of the individual in peace, giving up our resentment, bitterness, hurts, and all our expectations and conditions. So guys, like forgiveness prayers, ho'oponopono, just like, even if you are so wrapped up over something someone did to you, and that's, everybody has this challenge, just start with being willing to forgive them. Just, you don't, you know, because there's processes. And sometimes, I used to have a joke about this place, but this place is like an onion, and the more layers you peel, the more you cry. Sometimes our forgiveness in life is the same thing. We think we've forgiven someone, but like a layer of an onion, we find another layer and we cry, or we may not cry, we might do other things. But the bottom line is that there's sometimes many layers to forgiveness. And I just want to encourage you, do not stop. Just keep going on with your willingness to forgive, which will move into your solid forgiven, and then it will move into the not remembering and just leaving that behind altogether. This loose, friendly peacefulness stems from the clear recognition of their current condition and necessities for development. So you're really having a compassionate view of yourself and them. We're developing and we're releasing and we're forgiving. This loose, friendly peacefulness stems from the clear recognition of their current condition and necessity for development. From the certainty that based on the present, we cannot do anything by being with them. Our togetherness is not alliance, but paroxysm, a cohesion that creates irritability. This inflammation dismisses when we distance ourselves from one another. If we are successful in establishing this condition within ourselves, let's project it into our partner's deep consciousness. So peace in, peace out, she's saying here. Condition them to also give up their tense preparedness. Their psyche will accept this recommendation much more readily, sensing the thaw in us, that rational reason which merely in various pseudonyms dresses the nameless content of their impulses and dissatisfaction. So we start to relax the grip, and then that causes them to be able to relax the grip and giving room for healing. This is another thing. I just wanted to make a comment on this. She talks about losing people in a friendly, peaceful way. She says that sometimes based on a present, we cannot do anything by being with them. And instead of being together and being helpful, we can create irritability. So sometimes in life, and this is a tough one, sometimes in life people really mean well, but they put these like positive band-aids over deep wounds, And that kind of can cause that person to withdraw further into the darkness because they don't feel understood or they don't feel cared about. Some challenges in life are actually created for that, so that we have this bigger one-on-one channel and relationship with God. And so we are like, instead of like being with all the peoples, we have to rely on Him, and we have to rely on that relationship. We have to rely on her, and we have to rely on that relationship, and God comes in and out, and He schools us through it. And people may be, well-meaning, and they'll start, telling you all these verses and positive things, and they really just have no context of where that person's at. And that person has no context as to how to get out. That's where the Creator comes in. And sometimes it's not about abandoning people, and that person can perceive it as abandonment, but it's almost like it is their path in life. They're the only one who can walk it. And so you stay in your place, sending, uplift. You see them in their best. You imagine them healed. You imagine them with the job. You imagine them with the, love of their life. You imagine them with healthy kids, whatever it is, and that's sometimes how it is. And you may be meaning to be well-meaning. That person just feels irritated because you keep saying and doing things that almost disregards and dismisses where they're at. And that's, that happens sometimes. But we all, like she says, take a break, take a peaceful stance, and see them healing, see them in the best possible light. But sometimes you just got to keep that space, because the Creator is actually trying to develop a stronger relationship with them. And that's a tough one when you're going through the valley of the shadow of death. But that's how it is. If you've ever seen that picture where the person's looking at the footprints and they're walking with God, and they see the two footprints, and then all of a sudden there's only one. The person's like, God, why'd you leave me? How could you do this? This is the worst time of my life. And God said, I didn't leave you. In those moments, I was carrying you. So just try to remember, if you're one of those people going through a really rough time, God isn't leaving you. He's carrying you. And He's also trying to get you to hear the voice of the Creator and to have that stronger bond. So if you're going through some really rough stuff, really please work on also, if people around you have hurt you, please try to forgive them and just focus on the Creator. All right, so I'm so grateful that you took this time to spend with me. When you do get a chance, please hit like and subscribe and leave your positive comments. Bing! I would love to hear them. And I appreciate you so much supporting me on my channel. It's just a good time here, and I look forward to seeing you in every video and container of energy that we are making and reverberating out into the universe. So, you know what's next, right? You know what's next. Peace in. Peace out.